Hello guys, it's me, Monster from My One Cookies. Today I am doing a video on my paranoia and how it affects me. Um, with how it affects me, when it's triggered by something, or I, if I'm talking to someone on text, I will send them a lot of text, and I try my hardest to stop that and to just do it into one paragraph. But it's really hard when my paranoia kicks off. Um, like today, for instance, in college today. Well, throughout the day in general, it's been horrendous. Got really bad this afternoon. I was sitting at people noticed at lunchtime that my paranoia and my anxiety was acting up because my hands started to shake and I was drinking my bottle of Coke, same as I would normally do, and my hand was shaking rather fanatically, like frantically. And they were like, "Mark, what's up? What's up? What's up, Monster?" Not well, they know me as Mark, but you guys know me as Monster. Um, but today has been a really triggering day, and it was an absolute bloody nightmare. And I would like to say why today was a nightmare in general, but I can't. I don't feel strong enough to say why today was a nightmare because, well, I do, but I just don't want to say it on camera. Because that will set me off even more. But my paranoia, when that takes off, if I'm talking to someone on text, I will send them a lot of text. But I'm trying my best to do it in as few text boxes as possible. And for those people who do know me, they know that that's why I send a fair amount of text instead of just one send. It's a few sends, more than a few, and people who know me, they know that's why I do it. For people who don't know me, people can be really judgmental on that, and I don't think that's really nice. That's not nice at all. But that's not what set me off today. There was two or three things that set me off this morning. And then this afternoon it got worse. Another thing was added to it. Another thing was added to the stress, which triggered my paranoia. Because I felt insecure. I felt really insecure today. Put on the spot, and I don't like being put on the spot. It really is a hard thing for me to deal with. But we all experience it differently. We all experience anxiety, paranoia, and depression, PTSD. We all experience our mental health conditions differently than one another, and we all have different various ways of dealing with them. Today I had to do something that I would not normally do. I had to play something on my iPad, like a video or something like that, or a video or just a little music tune. to try and set my paranoia down a little bit, but it didn't help too much, but it didn't make it any worse either. It kept it at bay. I had to ask the person that was looking after my class earlier this afternoon if I could do that, and I had to explain why. And they could tell I wasn't myself. But the things that happened this afternoon in general, all throughout the day, I just wasn't myself. Various things happened today that set me off, and I don't really want to get into detail as to what they were because I don't want to make it. I don't want to talk about it in that respect. I don't want to get too much into detail, and I hope a lot of people will understand as to why. And I am talking rather quick because I've just had 4 cans of Monster, and I planned on drinking a few more before I actually done this video. But I thought, why not get this video over and done with? Why not be a little bit bouncy, a little bit hyperactive? When my paranoia acts up, it's bad because I have high paranoia, medium depression, and low anxiety. But when all of them act up at the same time, that's rather disastrous, rather hard for me to deal with. So I have friends and family that I reach out to. Always. In the event any one of them acts up, but if all 3 act up, then I try to reach out to as many people as I can, even though it's difficult sometimes. Today I felt like I was really short with people, and that's not me. That's not who I am. If I'm short with people and how I'm talking to them, there's a reason behind that. And that reason is it's either my anxiety or my depression. Actually, it's either my anxiety or my depression or paranoia that's acted up. But today it was just the 2 of them. And I felt like I wanted to scream today. Like, proper scream. And to be honest, if there was a person stood next to me, if I'd done that, their ears would be in a lot of pain, and I would not feel too happy about that because that would make my anxiety even worse. That would make me feel worse about myself. That would make my paranoia even worse. With my paranoia, I always feel like people are talking about me behind my back. And I know paranoia and anxiety kind of crisscross in that sort of way. But it can be really difficult to deal with, especially on the scale that I am. But I've got my own little ways to help me try to contain it. But I sometimes have to adapt my ways because it's how it's learning new ways of helping me to deal with it. But I hate it when more than one of my mental health issues acts up because it makes it even harder for me to deal with. And I would like people to try to understand that if someone is short with you and how they're talking to you and you haven't done anything wrong, there's a reason behind that, and you need to try to listen to them. You need to try to support them. I tried to hide it all day today, and I just couldn't. I tried to hide the fact my hands were shaking, and I just couldn't. I tried to hide my paranoia today, and I couldn't. And I know I shouldn't be ashamed of that, but I am ashamed that my paranoia. I am ashamed of my paranoia, very much so. And I know a lot of people. It's probably just me, anxiety and me paranoia, saying this, but I know a lot of people are gonna have negative opinions of this video that I'm doing because it may be. I've not experienced mine in the way you're experiencing yours. You're just a attention seeker and all that, but to be honest, a lot of people experience everything differently. You've got to think how that's going to affect. You got to think how people would take something like that, because if someone sends me a text and all that in general, sometimes I can misread that, and that can trigger my anxiety and paranoia, and that is really fucking scary. I'm sorry if it sounds a little bit too hyper on this video and a little bit too fast with my talking. But some portions of today was okay. In what I was learning today in college, but not everything was okay with me today with how it was triggered today. Something set me off today that I couldn't really stop. It's something that happened today, and I'm not really happy that it happened. To be honest, today I just felt like crying, and I don't like to cry much, but I do. I'm a very emotional person, but that's how I'm affected. That's my personality as well. But sometimes I try to hide my tears, but I just can't. There's been times where I've just randomly broke down crying, and it's unstop. It's not really something I can stop or prevent. Sometimes. So sometimes when either one of my mental health issues acts up, I write my gothic poetry. I'm a little goth myself, not proper goth, just like one of the categories of goth in this day and age. We don't all dress like vampires. That's a stereotype. So if you're expecting me to grow fangs and start sucking blood, think again, people. But I do enjoy my horrors. I do love horrors, and I do love the colour black. But not all goths love the colour black. Some do, some don't. Today I was just really, really scared. And I'm scared of my paranoia. I'm scared of my anxiety and my depression, but I have been put on medication for my depression, which does help me a lot, but when my paranoia acts up, I'm scared. I am scared, and I'm sorry. Also, when my anxiety acts up as well as paranoia, I do say I'm sorry a lot. But if I say sorry more than 2 times, that's another way of people being able to tell if my paranoia is acting up. If my anxiety's acting up, I'll say it 2 or 3 times, but if my paranoia is acting up, it could be anywhere between 3 to 10 times. And sometimes people say to me, "Why are you saying sorry? You have nothing to be sorry about." And then I feel the need to explain why, and a few people have actually took notice on that, on some of the signs that my paranoia is acting up. Today I just couldn't really deal with today, to be honest. I'd rather just stayed in my little room. Sorry, it's not little, but I would have loved to have just stayed home today, but my education is very important. If I'd have stayed home today, maybe what happened today wouldn't have happened. Or maybe it would have, and it could have just been a random act up at home. But it wasn't. It was something that happened this morning. And then this afternoon. As I said, sometimes I think that people are talking about me when they're not. If I'm talking to someone on the phone, and say if I'm talking to a couple of my mates on the phone and their phone dies, I often do think that have I done something to upset them? Have I done this? Have I done that? And I'll be okay, I'll be cool. I said that quite a lot to a few people. Or if they've not responded to my question in any question I ask within 48 hours, that can trigger me. But I try not to, because a lot of people can misread that. If I'm around a lot of people as well and they're all talking, sometimes I feel like I can hear them say, "Mark, you're this, Mark, you're that." And that could literally happen anywhere. And I will just break down. I will break down crying. I will try to take myself away from that situation. And that has happened before now. And sometimes when I'm around one of my phobias, like, I know a few people may laugh at this, and I really hope you don't, because that will hurt me a lot. If I'm around, my fear is heights and water. Even though I was on holiday with my family a few years ago, I was quite high up in the shopping centre abroad, and just to go to next door basically, and with how tall it was on the inside, as soon as I got to the top, or near the top, or midsection, I don't really know where I was on that point exactly, but I broke down. I just broke down, and I heard loads of voices, I heard people talking, and I felt like people were looking at me, laughing, and a few people were actually, I think, as well. And that did make me feel worse. That made me feel 100 times worse. Um, but with my paranoia acts up, I always think it's something that I've done. I always think it's something that I've done. I always feel like that I've done something to offend someone, even though they've said to me, "You haven't upset us," or "You haven't done this." I don't know why you're thinking that. And then you explain that it's your paranoia acting up. Um, um, I find it very scary when that happens because I feel like my paranoia makes me feel like I'm some sort of menace to society, and then I have to get reminded by my friends and family that I'm not, because we are all very different in how we experience everyday tasks. Um, I try to set myself little tasks each day to motivate me, um, and some tasks to prevent my anxiety acting up, even though it's next to impossible sometimes. Or if I've put a word out of place on text, my immediate response is to try and correct the spelling, but then my phone plays up and sends a completely different word, or a few at the same time, and then I'm like, shit, 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 shit. Because text is easily misread. It is, unfortunately. And I always correct my texts as much as I can, so people know I'm not meaning to sound horrible in what I'm saying. But if the person knows you well enough, then they will know how you mean the text. But even though they know how you mean it with my paranoia, that doesn't click in. I feel the need to explain how I meant it. And that's not something I can help. I'm kind of talking about anxiety and paranoia. I know that. I'm just pointing that out in case someone puts it in the comment section that I'm talking about both. But today's just been a really hard day for me. I tried to shield it from people today, but I couldn't. But reaching out to people is important. I reach out to my friends and my family sometimes, quite a lot, but it's not as easy as what you think. If you have mental health issues, you will understand as to why. But it's just not that easy to deal with. But I hope I have given some sort of insight as to how I experience my paranoia and anxiety. But oh yeah, another way of people knowing that my paranoia acts up is that sometimes I talk really fast and I stutter. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. I find it really difficult to continue this video. Because you guys, the majority of you are all strangers to me. And that's not really, I don't find it easy talking to people. I really don't. I struggle. That's why sometimes I appear quite quiet on some videos when I'm mainly doing videos by myself, because it feels like I'm talking to complete strangers all the time. Even though some of my subscribers I actually know in real life. And if I appear a little bit quiet on some of the videos, that's why. But I hope a lot of the subscribers will understand that. But I do try to talk to people in general on social media. Anyway, this is Monster over and out. Like and subscribe, please, and thank you.